Meanwhile, top Treasury officials to testify at tomorrow's House hearing on Solyndra to answer questions on the legality of restructuring the energy company's loans. My next guest heading up that hearing, Republican Congressman Cliff Stearns, is the chairman of the Oversight Investigations Subcommittee. Congressman, very good to have you back with us.
Thank you, Neil.
You know, what's interesting about this Solyndra thing, sir, is it just seems to grow and grow beyond other companies now that might be just as suspect, or at least whose financials might be just as worrisome, yet it goes on and on. What do you hope to hear or get out of Solyndra tomorrow?
Well, as you know, we're having a hearing at 9:30 tomorrow. We have two people from Treasury. We have Gary Grippo,
right,
who is the Assistant Secretary of Financial Affairs, and also we have Gary Berner, who is also the Chief Financial Officer there at Treasury. They're going to testify on Mary Miller's email that was dropped last Friday, documents that were dropped Friday by the White House, in which the Treasury told DOE, Department of Energy, as well as OMB, that they should not subordinate the loan for these two private hedge funds. They were clear in their emails that they should seek the Justice Department ruling before they did it. And incidentally, they did this in 2010, too. So we have both cases where Mary Miller told them to do it with an email. So we're going to ask these two individuals from the Department of Treasury why they allowed this to go ahead, and is it possible that there's any interpretation that you can allow government taxpayers to be subordinated to these two hedge funds? We don't think so.
It wouldn't be the first time that we've sort of upended corporate law, for that matter, even in the rescue of the auto companies where the bondholders were moved to the back of the line. So that would not be the first time that's done. But I guess, given the fact that Solyndra executives themselves pleaded the fifth, and I can't imagine the Treasury officials will be forthcoming on all your questions. They might just kick it and say, well, we can't divulge that or what have you. What does this hearing hope to produce?
Well, I think it's going to show, I think, pretty much to the American taxpayers that their money should not be subordinated, because I think the Treasury Department is going to agree with us. Their interpretation of the Energy Policy Act 2005 is you can't subordinate it. They're going to agree with us. We're going to establish it pretty clear that throughout all these loan guarantees, the taxpayers cannot ever be subordinated. In fact, I don't think there's a case of any case where you can subordinate taxpayers to these hedge funds like they did. So if that's established, then it's pretty much up to Secretary Chu to explain why he did it and why his counsel advised him to do it. And then
or
the question
why his
is,
counsel or he himself ignored the warnings from Treasury. Now, if that is proven, then the issue becomes who in the White House was aware of these conflicts, and when were they aware of it? Because we're getting different reads on that. How big is this potential scandal, and the fact that now Solyndra, another company whose finances are being called into question, but another company that has been benefiting from taxpayer funds, how big do you suspect this is?
Well, I don't know, Neil, but I can tell you that the Secretary Chu is going to have a hard time explaining why he didn't follow the recommendation of the Secretary of Treasury getting a reading from the Department of Justice. And the question which you allude to, is there somebody at the White House, including the President, the inner circle of the West Wing, that pushed the Secretary Chu to go ahead with this reinterpretation of the Energy Policy Act of 2005 and sign these documents to subordinate taxpayers?
Well, bottom line, do you think it was just rush, 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 rush? Get it out, get it out, get it out.
I think it was that. I think it's also incompetence. But I think there's something here fundamental, because all those documents we saw from last Friday show a prevalence of large wealthy donors and people who bundled money for the administration as part of the, shall we say, communication with the inner circle of the West Wing. And also there looks like there's this contamination of these wealthy donors involved with all these Solyndras, with all these other loan guarantees. It's sort of intermingled, all these people that have access and are investors. The investors in the hedge fund was George Kaiser. The investor in Solyndra was George Kaiser. And if you look at down the line in other loan guarantees, you see this intermingling and this prevalent of these wealthy donors and these bundlers.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we'll be watching closely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Neil.